What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So we have a very important stimulus package update that we need to get to because we're seeing that relief is still required as the pandemic is far from over. Right now in the United States, we have reported 538,028 new COVID cases yesterday alone. We also saw 3,769 deaths yesterday alone. We are now seeing an average of 2,486 deaths per day due to COVID. This is the highest that we've seen these deaths per day since December of 2020. That is a very, very important fact to remember. And I say this because we have a new Omicron subvariant that we need to worry about. Scientists are saying this is 1.5 times more transmissible than Omicron, and the CDC says that they are exercising caution with this new subvariant. Now, what I want to address, the CDC is not going to go and release anything too extraordinary. They're not going to take any deep, strong measures as of right now because it's still early. The Biden administration will not do this either. But what does all this have to do with stimulus moving forward and the American people, right? What do we need to know? First, and again, this is extremely important. Progressives say that the pandemic is far from over, so additional relief is required until it is. And even the progressive chairwoman, Pramila Jayapal, she had this to say, and I quote, "Progressives have fought for the Build Back Better agenda since day one. We have no intention of giving up now. The pandemic is surging and too many are struggling. The economy is recovering, but not fast enough for those with the lowest incomes. We can and must get this done." Now, I want to pinpoint on something here. She says, and this is something that we have not heard from lawmakers. She specifically says the economy is recovering, but not fast enough for those with the lowest incomes. This is what I've been saying for over a year. We're going to see a K-shaped recovery. This is exactly what we are seeing. Okay? So what you need to keep in mind is many lawmakers are looking at the overall picture and seeing, oh, the economy is doing well. We must be fine. We don't need any additional support. We don't need to provide for the lower income earners because, well, the economy is doing great. We got millions of open jobs. We got millions of people still on unemployment. Well, let's just get them into those jobs. That's not the way it works. Now, I addressed this earlier and how the federal government is very unlikely to provide a large stimulus package to provide for all Americans. So college students, kids, seniors, people on Social Security, right? Individuals, families, every single person out there could need support. Now, what I addressed earlier, and you can go and watch this video, but what I addressed earlier is that we are more likely to see relief coming from specific states. And this might be the best move. According to experts, they say and they believe this would be the best move possible because this would provide more of a blanket stimulus payment to all residents as opposed to picking and choosing who gets what. Because I can tell you that I have seen so many comments of parents that say, well, we need more money. We need more help. You gave us this additional child tax credit payment that was very helpful, but then you cut it off after 6 months. We need that. We know people on Social Security are saying, hey, what about President Biden who promised us $200 per month when he was running for president? That was why we voted for him. And then there's been no discussions whatsoever on additional relief for people on Social Security. What about students that say, you know what? I do need this up to $10,000 of student debt forgiveness. I need that because I can't go on with my life. I can't pay for a car, buy a house, start a business, whatever it may be, because I'm pretty much saddled with this debt. So what do? Now, if you didn't get a chance to go and watch the video that I did earlier today on confirmed checks, and just keep in mind, this is not for the entire United States. This is specific states like Oregon, Idaho, Colorado, Minnesota, right? Those are some of the states. I believe Georgia was in there as well. Those are some of the states that are getting some stimulus and checks from the federal government or from the state government. So just keep that in mind. If you want to go and watch that, I will link to that video down in the description box below. Now, where do things go? What are we going to see? And here's where things get very tricky. Because Democrats promised the world. When it came to the $1.75 trillion human infrastructure bill, they promised the world and underdelivered. Progressives gave away all their leverage back in November when they voted to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill that moderates want to hold out on. That moderates are saying, no, you're holding out. Let's get this passed, and then we'll vote on the next one. And if they would have held out and not passed the bipartisan infrastructure bill, or what they call BIF, then we would actually be able to get more of their agenda through. But that didn't happen. That's not the case. Now, Democrats are applauding the fact that they are sending $1.2 trillion out to states and communities to improve our infrastructure. But as we learned earlier today, and I addressed this in the video that I did this morning, the truth is that's not the case. The majority of this money has yet to be used because states are saying they're waiting for the government funding bill to pass before they decide where they're going to put their funds to use. So really, progressives passed a bill that did very little for them and the American people. But what now? Here's what we know. We don't know what's going to be pushed in the next bill. And if somebody tells you, oh, that's going to be in there, they're lying. Nobody knows. We know progressives won't get their way because of the lack of leverage that they currently have. We know moderates, they won't get their way because progressives are upset with them for lying about having a vote. We know Republicans have almost no voice in the upcoming bill, unless it's going to be a true bipartisan bill, which chances are it won't be. We know President Biden, he's open to pass just about anything. And we know that the majority of Democrats say we must pass something in order to give our party something to run on that is currently positive. Because if you think about it, what have Democrats done? What have they passed in the recent months? You can't go back to the American Rescue Plan that was passed back in March of 2021 because, well, we're in 2022. So what does this mean? This means that everything we have seen in the past for pieces of the bill, they're honestly going to be in question. There's a bigger chance that we see a small standalone bill than a more transformative piece of legislation. And I know Nancy Pelosi says, no, we can't do a standalone bill. But honestly, there's not support to do a full bill either. So which direction do we take? Additional stimulus to the American people is likely to come through the states, not the federal government. But the worst part about all of this, honestly, the worst part, is that in a time when more people are dying due to COVID, hospitals are still overloaded, workers are putting in more hours to account for the worker shortages at their companies. We are seeing the highest levels of inflation in the past 40 years, but the American people are still struggling, and our government has no answers as to how to get this fixed. Absolutely none. But this is where I want to ask you, okay? Because one of the things that I do every so often is I send an email or I try to call state legislators, try to get them to understand, hey, this is what we need. This is what we need in our state. Now, in most cases, they want you to be from their state, but yep, I decided to call just random states because here in Washington State, I can call, I can send an email, and maybe I've never got a response, but maybe one of these days. But I want to know what you guys need. What do you guys need over the next 2 months? Do you just need a bill to pass? Do you want the Build Back Better Act? Do you want that to pass? Do you need a new bill being discussed more for the American people? Potentially stimulus checks, child tax credit payments, Social Security reform, right? What do you need? Let me know down in the comment section below. I'm curious what you are hoping to get in the next few months, because I want to take your guys' comments. I want to compile a list and let lawmakers know, hey, this is what we're seeing. This is what we're seeing from different groups, from high income earners to middle income earners to lower income earners to people on fixed income and Social Security. I want to hear from you guys. So if you could, it doesn't have to be a very lengthy response, but let me know. What is it that you guys want so I can put together a little bit of a letter, send out an email to multiple lawmakers and see, do we get anything from this? Again, they say that every voice is heard. I want to make sure that every voice is heard. So I want to take all you guys' responses, compile a list, and send it out. So if you could, and you can do me that favor, that would be great, because honestly, I want to help you guys out. I don't know what's going to pass. I don't know what we're going to move forward with. See a new bill, see the old bill, see no bill. Honestly, don't know. But I promise I will be here every step of the way. And my goal is to make sure we can all get out of this. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor. Go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.